Hey, hey, welcome back to the Project Manager Connect Show. I'm your host, Anna Anderson, and today we are going to be talking about something I wish someone had told me clearly when I stepped into my first official project manager role. What should you actually focus on your first 30 days? Not your 90 days, not 120, the first 30 days. Because let's be honest, those first few weeks can feel like drinking from a fire hose. Everyone is talking in acronyms. The systems are new, the people are still learning your name literally, and you're trying not to look like you have no clue what's going on. So if you're new into your first project manager role, because I've had a couple of people who just became new project managers, or if you're about to start, this episode is for you. I'm going to break down into 4 areas to focus on in your first month. Again, the first 30 days. So the first one is building relationships. The second one is understanding the systems, asking those smart questions, and then finding your first quick win. So if you want to go deeper after this episode, I've created a 30-day checklist just for you. You have to listen to this episode. Just send me a DM or follow up with me on LinkedIn and or my other socials that I'll put on the show notes with the word NEWPM, and I'll send it over to you. All right, so let's get into it. Building relationships is the first one. So this is a big one. Again, relationships. It is a big one. So you're not going to know everything on your first 30 days because let's be honest, you're not a magician, and that's okay. But if you build trust with the people you work with, that will carry through every project. So how are you going to do that, Chips? It is a big one. You're going to be like, okay, Anna, how am I going to do that? Start by identifying your core team. Who are the people you'll be interacting with the most? That would be maybe developers. Maybe you're going to be interacting with business analysts, QA people, subject matter experts, your vendors, internal, external vendors or stakeholders, all these people. You're going to be interacting with them, and maybe they're going to be part of your core team. So you want to introduce yourself to them early. Set up quick one-on-ones, get to know you if possible, even if it's just 15 minutes, because people's calendars get full very, very quickly. And you don't need to go into this long agenda. I want you to keep it simple. So first of all, you can ask questions like, I'd love to hear more about what you do. What's your role? How do you like, or rather, how do you like to work best? And what's something you wish project managers understood about something like your work? You could ask those simple questions, 15 minutes, and it helps you starting to know who they are. You'd be surprised how much that will build connection, that will build relationships. And also, it gives you that just valuable information into how to lead them well, because at least now you're starting to get to know who they are. Also, I don't want you to forget about maybe your sponsors, people on your project leadership team. I want you to touch base with them early to understand their vision for the project, their expectations of you as a new project manager on their team, and how they want to receive updates, maybe meetings, emails, dashboards, things like that. If you don't, or rather, if you build those relationships early and consistently follow through, you are already winning. I wish someone had already told me this when I started my first project manager role. The second thing here is understanding the systems. Now, let's talk about systems. You get into an organization, they are all kinds of new systems you've never even heard of. So you can't manage what you don't understand. In those first few weeks, block out time to explore what tools does your team use for things like planning, tracking. Do they use maybe tools like Jira, maybe Planner, maybe Excel? What do they use? What are where are the documents shared or are they stored? Are they on maybe some type of OneDrive, maybe SharePoint? Are they on Teams? Do they use maybe other platforms like Google Drive? What templates already exist? So even if you've used some of these tools before, every company sets them up differently. And it's okay to ask for a walkthrough. So here's a tip. Ask the last project manager or a team member to show you how they've used the tools, how they created maybe things like tickets, bugs, tracked milestones, or shared status updates. One of my favorite things to do is create maybe a PM toolkit folder. So you want to bookmark this one with key links, templates, and dashboards. It will save you so much time much later. All right. So that was understanding the systems. The third thing here is asking smart questions. I'm not saying You should not ask a question, but this is important, asking smart questions. Sometimes we are afraid to ask things because we don't want to look like we are inexperienced. Let me tell you, asking smart questions shows that you care about doing the job well. So here are a few things that helped me early on when I started to understand, okay, I can do this. For example, what does success look like for this project? Really, what does success look like for this project? What are the biggest risks or maybe blockers that you've seen so far? What's the history of this project? Maybe even if you've gone to SharePoint, ask this question so you can hear it from somebody. Has a project like this been done before here? What are the things that typically slow projects down, maybe in this company or something like that? Notice I'm asking notice I'm not asking what's the scope of the project. That will come. But these questions give you the context to lead effectively. Also, if there's maybe a vendor involved, ask about maybe the contract or some type of agreement that's written out, the deliverables, and who is responsible for holding those vendors accountable. Because vendors, again, can be your best friend or they could be your biggest risk as well. All right. So that was, again, asking smart questions. I'm sure there's many other questions you can ask in conversation that will come up, but this is another one as well. The fourth thing here is finding a quick win. It's important. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be maybe cleaning up a project tracker that was outdated, maybe creating a shared folder to organize documents, maybe starting a weekly 15-minute team sync to keep communication flowing. Whatever it is, these things show leadership. They show initiative. They just show that you're excited about the opportunity. And most importantly, they build that momentum and also they build that confidence. And confidence is key in your first 30 days. Even if you're feeling some type of imposter syndrome, you're nervous, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? It's very important to show that confidence because you might not have all the answers yet. But when you start solving real problems, even those small ones, your team starts to see you as the project manager for your project. So let's recap. Your first 30 days, what are you going to do? You're going to focus on relationships, people first, always. In fact, there's a saying that says people process product. So people fast always. Get to know your systems, those tools, those templates, any workflows that your organization has. Ask those smart questions. They'll help you lead better. And then look for that quick win, something small but valuable. Of course, you want to know things like your cost center, maybe help desk numbers. Maybe you want to do your training that is required of you to complete within those first 30 days. It's very, very important for you to do that because you'll start getting flagged or maybe getting emails saying, oh, you haven't completed tasks or other specific training that you're supposed to do. So those ones, of course, they're part of that. But for you, on your first 30 days as a project manager, managing a project, these are the things that they want. Now, here's the thing. You are not behind. You're not underqualified. You were chosen because you went to maybe interview round 1, 2, 3, 4 for a reason. So trust that. If you want, again, that 30-day PM checklist I mentioned, DM me, NEWPM on LinkedIn or any other media that I put in the show notes, and I'll send it right over to you. All right? Thanks again for hanging out with me. I know I get this question a lot, but I honestly wanted just to share with you what I share with my clients who recently got opportunities. And for you, the listener out there who probably has just gotten your first project manager role and you're wondering, what should I do for the first 30 days? And if this episode helped you, share it with someone who maybe just got their role or stepping into their new project manager role in future so that we can grow together around here. All right. I'll catch you on the next episode on the Project Manager Connection. Until then, keep going because you got this. Okay.